which is
that's
nice.
That's good.
Okay, which mouse am I on? This mouse. Go live. Edit stream settings. I'm getting better at this. I know to go and make it public first now and everything. Kind of. I mean, we were unlisted for probably 10 seconds there. You'll get that bonus 10 seconds if you watch the replay later.
Yeah, that's unrecoverable any other way. Not that anyone would be.
Yeah. I'm not recording this. I haven't hit record yet. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that's it. Like
that's one and done.
This is the only form that it exists in currently.
Mm.
All right, get the mouse out of here. Let's turn it off. We're up to 4 concurrent viewers right now.
Well, excellent.
Oh, 5. Should I wait till we're at least at like 20 or 30 before we start, or just start now?
That's your call.
What's sad, Bruce? Bruce says join the chat. He says it's sad. You're chatter number 1 tonight.
On the line. I got to fix the live page, so give me a minute here.
Okay. Plus, I got to pull up the show notes because I never have those pulled up. I hear Jeremy's cat.
If you want attention, come get it. If you don't, then don't. Wandering around screaming is not going to help.
It might.
Sure it is.
It might.
Well, it's fun. That's for sure.
You know, one thing I will miss when we switch to vMix switch back to vMix, is that with vMix, you actually have to, you know, pay attention to the levels and level everybody and go through the mixer. And with Skype, it's all just one compressed glob.
Yes, and that's the perfect way to describe it.
Perfect.
It is a glob.
It's always bad, but it always works.
Mostly.
Yeah, well, not always. It's been surprisingly robust. Josh, you look slightly bandwidth constrained this week after looking pristine last week.
Well, let me look and see what Euro's doing.
The Euro?
Euro.
The Eero. Too many E's. And a row.
Well, my child probably is.
Right.
Boy, you are right about that tight crop. Everything gets thinner and thinner.
I'm telling you, man.
Wow.
I don't know any other way to do this, because if we uncrop ourselves, then there's just a black border around us all, which is fine, honestly, because then I could crop that down and it would be taller in the YouTube video. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
This way, it just looks like Letterbox. It's the cinematic version of the PC Bird podcast.
Yeah, I'm only uploading at like 0.3 megabit.
Oh.
So I don't know why it's... And I'm not constrained there.
It just doesn't want to use it.
Apparently.
You're on that list, that upload thing.
I'm on the list.
All right. It looks fine. I mean, it's when we switch back to vMix, I think it'll be a different story, because we'll be able to do the full screen solo shots again and all that.
Yeah.
Right now, you're like, what? You're going to be 480 pixels wide? 540 pixels wide? Okay.
How many pixels does a man need?
I don't know. I'm looking a little warm.
It looks good, though, Brett. Look.
Are you telling me leave it alone?
Leave it alone, because I'm
all right.
super warm.
Don't touch it. It'll get infected.
Almost, because then this red just throws it over the top.
You are.
So it's like
we're
the Florida vacationing side, and then like on the other side you have the Canadians and the people who are almost Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Josh is far enough north. I would just consider him not very Canadian.
Yes.
Okay, recording has commenced.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Wow, the Gigabyte X570 Aortus Elite was 160 this morning. They must have sold out all of those because it's back up to 235, which is still about $50 more expensive than it should be.
Yeah.
Viewer 3 standing by. Nice. Viewer 5 standing by. Very nice.
I'm gonna check something real quick. Make sure Firefox is working properly. Okay, there we go. All right. Yep, it's captured that. Okay, it's time to start the show.
Rock on. All right. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay.
601, 601.
Worshipping Lisa Sue.
Oh, I didn't change the dates. I'm only saying
10:14.
I'm fixing.
Okay.
That's wrong. Stop that. That's. I usually fix this for you. There we go. Kent is being critical of the fact that we're in different zones.
Like time zones?
No, the different areas of the screen.
Oh, right, because we're not. Yeah, because it's all about the luck of the draw here.
Yep, it's random.
You can spend 20 minutes fighting Skype and get them where you want, and then within 5 minutes it will revert back to what it thinks is right.
Nice.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
I haven't tried. Those little dots next to our names, I think, are supposed to give the host the option of doing like single camera for that person, but it's.
Is that what those are for?
I think so. It's like different.
Remove from call.
Yeah, ban. And I just use emojis for everything instead of talking. All right, let's get started here in 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode 601. They said it couldn't be done. We couldn't follow up episode 600, the mammoth 3-hour recording marathon featuring some familiar faces. Check it out next week. Look at the after show if you want to know what I'm talking about. Some old compatriots of ours, is that the right word? Visited us for about 45 minutes, an hour. It was fun. But yeah, we're just back. Just us. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
And we are recording this on October 14, 2020. Get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. You can sign up to find out when we go live with events like this podcast by going to pcper.com/subscribe. And you will be part of our mailing list that we only use to send out Brett's cleverly worded emails about us going live. I think you've added some flavor to that we were missing.
There's extra flavor in there, yeah, but it's still family friendly.
Yeah, it's not like
Barramundi flavored.
It's not exotic. It's like, A1 steak sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
It's accessible comedy.
Yeah, but it's mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe for work. You can help support whatever this is and PCPer.com by going to patreon.com/PCPer, becoming one of our patrons. And Brett, I think you've added some people in the last week. I
did, and while you maybe read out a couple of those, I think I just got a notice. So let me go in there and take a look.
So new patrons include Wabbit Magic.
Yes,
with a W.
Mm.
It could be German though. It could be Wabbit Magic. Jack Hearn, Tom's Remsmitz.
Yeah, good luck.
Remsmitz. And a hearty welcome back to patron Kevin Hamilton.
We did just get a brand new, fresh, the new smell is still on this patron, and their name is, aptly put, "Don't ban Jordan. I love Apple."
Wait, did you write this, Brett?
Brett,
are you a new patron? Okay.
No.
We all know you love Apple.
Hey,
let's get into
money.
the news. Hey, Tim does need money. Tim Apple needs money.
Apple does need money. And thank you, really, patron members and all. Really appreciate it. So thanks again.
We literally couldn't do it without you.
Too true.
Because we need your money to pay the bills.
Correct.
Top stories in news this week begin with, of course, Josh and I had a fireside chat about this, but it wasn't on the podcast proper. AMD announced new processors. They're coming November 5. What does
I know you want to dive into the news. I know you really want to dive into the news.
Cut. Hold everything.
You're gonna
Edit.
gonna have to edit
point-
this. Oh my god, we're gonna
edit
need to
point.
start over. Oh my god.
I'll just switch the intros here. I forgot all about Josh's burger. Okay. Burger update, Josh. It's burger update time. That time of the week.
Just in
We
time.
go to Josh's Twitter feed.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
What are we looking at here? Walk us through
It's
this.
it's the naughty. I've had it
Oh.
before, but it's really good. It's a spicy barbecue sauce, jalapenos, cheddar cheese, couple of pieces of bacon, and 2 all beef patties on sesame seed bun, not bum.
What about the fries? What kind of fries do they have here?
They're just a lightly seasoned hand cut fries. My kid worked there for a while last year, and they all they do is they bring in sacks of potatoes and have the 16 and 17-year-olds down there with the hand press and just make hand cut fries, hand pressed, whatever you want to call it.
Those aren't from Frozen. They make their own fries every day.
Correct.
That looks good. I hope.
does
I
look
think
really
the
good.
fries don't really get enough love, and I just wanted to draw some
They're
attention
usually
to
pretty
them.
good. So
I have to agree.
nicely
Not enough
done.
love. How would you compare them with like a Five Guys fry?
I don't know if Josh has Five Guys. Do you have Five Guys?
Well, we have like in Casper and Cheyenne, we've got five
Okay.
guys. I've been there before, and they're those are good fries.
Yeah.
I probably like these a little bit better. They taste a little bit fresher, I guess. I don't know. The seasoning's not so in your face, but otherwise good. They're both good.
I don't remember Five Guys having a lot of strong seasoning.
You can.
Well, there's that
get the
extra one you
seasoned
can add.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I've never had the seasoned ones. I've had
That's
them
it.
a couple times, and it's a brown bag that's like soaking through the bottom with the grease from the fries. It's pretty great.
You don't even spill them out. You just kind of rip the bag and leave them in there, and the bag becomes kind of like the carrier for the French fries.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
separates the first-time Five Guys attendee from an old hand at ripping the bag, eating the Five Guys fries. Yep.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm doing after the podcast. I'm getting out my hand press and I'm making fries because
Nice.
now I got a craving.
Yeah.
There's never a bad time for fries.
Nope.
All right, now we can go to the news.
Hey, great idea. Let's do the news.
Ryzen processors, they're coming November 5. I don't know when review embargo is up, but they're coming on November 5 to purchase. Do you guys have thoughts about this? Ryzen 5000. Was it an underwhelming launch? Overwhelming?
I thought it was interesting that I look back and it's only been a week, but it seems a whole lot longer. Maybe that was just my week.
I think time moves differently now
That's true.
this year.
It really does.
Let's
But
look
yeah,
at the
no,
lineup here.
it's if they can retain that 19% average uplift over previous generation, then they're super competitive with Intel. Certainly in terms of TDPs,
Yeah.
their top end SKU is 105 watts, and sure, it may pull a little bit more at the wall, but not like the 200 watts of the 10900K when it's fully unlocked. So yeah, AMD's got power cranked down. They've got performance cranked up, and thermals are not horrific. So it's about the only problem that most people have is each SKU is about $50 higher than the previous generation, the 3000 series.
Yeah.
So 5600 is $299 rather than $249, and you go
Yeah.
up the line. And I think that in many ways the 5800X is in a strange place because it's really competing with the 3900X, which is still going to be out for quite a while.
Mhm.
And boy, going from 16 to 24 threads and still having a lot of good performance at the 3900X level at that same cost. That's, at least you have an option there. It's like you can go a little bit higher, IPC if you don't usually use more than 16 threads versus, hey, you've got all these extra threads you can deal with.
What do you think about them collapsing the chiplets essentially and doubling the core count on a single?
The CCX?
Yeah, the CCX from 4 to 8, and then allowing them so much better access to cache.
Yeah, that's huge. That's probably one of the largest
Yes.
reasons of that 19% uplift is
Yeah,
that there's a pretty significant decrease in latency in accessing the shared L3 cache. Instead of having two pools of 16 megs, it's one giant pool of 32. And you don't have nearly the latency of going CCX to CCX, much less, and it probably does improve chiplet to chiplet also.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
and you won't have
great.
to play around with Ryzen Master and do local and distributed and all the fun sort of things that the older designs sort of introduce you to.
And still, the Infinity Fabric is there, and so you will get improvements by increasing that clock up by using 3600 or 3733 type memory. But I'll be curious to see if it will scale as much as the previous generation, just because of the CCX layout.
And is 3600 still going to be the sweet spot? I mean, from what I understand, it should be
5600.
3600.
Yeah,
I
wonder
3600 is still going to be the same.
Is going to be around 210.
Yeah. Okay.
For in just mainstream market, and I mean, sure, the MSRP is still 249, but you will never, you rarely find them up at that. But yeah, the 3900X and 3900. I mean, those two are just going to kind of stay embedded there for a while, and it probably won't be until 2021 that we see more SKUs, especially in the lower part. But I guess AMD will see what sells and what doesn't, and what they can do.
Josh, do you foresee them continuing to manufacture the 3000 series until they round out that lineup next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're still selling a lot of chips. I mean, they're at least competitive at the 3000 level in most applications, except maybe games. And even then, if you're running at 1440p and above, you're not going to notice much.
Very
Your
true.
Dark Lord said memory speed, Josh. As far as I know, the IO chip is still the Global Foundries larger one, 14 nanometer, 12 nanometer, whichever one they decide to use for that SKU. So yeah, memory speeds won't be enhanced over what they are now. It's all intercore CCX type improvements, and not so much the IO memory controller chip.
And I mean, hell, do you want to improve your DDR4 at this point, or do you want to get ready for rolling out DDR5 in 18 months, 24 months?
And of course, if this is the last gasp for AM4, like the last hurrah, then I'm sure we'll be seeing all the new technologies with the next platform anyway. It's kind of crazy to think that this is now the fourth generation of processors on the same socket.
Started with the 1700 series. Or previously was Bristol Ridge was an AM4. And that's Excavator.
Let's not talk about that.
No.
Any more thoughts on this? I mean, we have a separate video where Josh goes into his deep thoughts about it, and
they're pretty flawed deep thoughts, but sure.
Yeah. I think the only controversy about this has been pricing and whether all platforms would be available immediately. It looks like just 500 series platforms are getting BIOS updates until 2021.
Yeah, so then they're going to roll out some 400 series.
Do you think that's AMD just trying to push the new platform for early, like anybody who's still on 300, 400, if they want the new CPU, they've got to buy it?
What happens whenever they release something and you don't get a full flavored feature on the old chipset?
Yeah, they got to head off bad press.
People scream.
Yeah, they don't want screaming people. Yeah,
I think supporting AGESA across multiple CPUs in 8 megabit and 16 megabit BIOS is challenging enough, because everybody's got to have the fancy graphics in the BIOS and have that little OS kind of running in there, and click a mouse and all the crap that you really don't need.
Right.
But
true,
it takes up space in the ROM. I think it's just a challenge getting all of that in there.
It's got to be.
Yeah, they've
Hey.
been.
Okay.
What,
And you got to
what's that,
upgrade
Brett?
your RGB controller constantly.
Yeah.
Brett.
No,
you.
I was just going to ask if you guys at the end of your discussion on the presentation touched upon the performance of that look ahead at Big Navi.
Yeah, I showed a bit of the video. They obviously weren't forthcoming with any details.
Now, just
So-
just a couple of benchmarks, which looked pretty promising.
Yeah,
Really-
they look to be in the 3080 range overall, maybe a little bit slower. But again, you've got less optimized drivers and still
Sure.
some work to go for the next month before they release. Well, not in that month. It's what, 28, 14 days from now.
Yeah,
it's
it's
2
really
weeks,
close.
Josh.
So I thought
2 weeks.
I'd bring it up. The somewhat substantiated rumor was that, why no, that was not our top card.
Hey, as long as there's availability, I don't think people are going to care.
Probably.
If you can literally buy the thing,
Right.
people are going to love it.
Yeah,
That-
they have that advantage right now over
Yeah.
NVIDIA, don't they?
Not only that, I sense that probably they're going to be a little bit better on heat, and they're probably going to be a little bit better at lower resolutions. Well, not better. What I mean by that is see some better
Like
scaling.
1440p.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know why they would be better on heat, because what they have done has been to push the 7 nanometer process as far as they can go with clocks. And the
Well,
only way they're going to
because-
be able to be competitive is with high clocks.
Well, I'm giving them a 7 nanometer advantage.
I don't see it, because the previous generation 5700 XT was still pulling 300 watts.
Well, I
Oh, yeah.
suppose you're right
or
there.
not quite 300 watts, but
I
still.
suppose you're right.
It was up
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
275 watt is a low power GPU nowadays, right?
And of course, I think the TDP on that is 250, but still, I would rather see them be right back where they were with like Vega 64 and have a performance edge than be able to say that they have better efficiency. But
All right. Well, we'll see about that, but I think they're going to be pretty reasonable at 1440. I think you're going to see good scaling.
okay, I have no
Just a
idea.
guess. Just
Yes.
a guess.
Yeah.
Next story. I know Josh is interested in this. We have another Gen 4 SSD player, PCIe
And a new
Gen 4.
controller.
It's a new controller. Yeah, it's not just
New
using a Phison
controller.
controller. Western Digital Black, the SN850. We reviewed the 750. It's actually one of our better performing videos in the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
And it was a very fast drive. I use an SN750 in my own personal system. They're very, very fast. And an
Yeah, I
850.
didn't realize they
is out.
had designed their own controller for the SN750. That's
Yeah.
that's an in-house Western Digital.
It is.
And their SN850, as you mentioned, I thought it was originally a Phison E18, the way the numbers were coming out. But no, it's built by Western Digital.
Now, that's not to say it's built completely by Western Digital and
Sure.
that they didn't cage some things, but it's just new controller.
Yeah, it's the WD Black G2 controller. We'll have to see, these drives in person and peel the stickers back and see if it's like, is this the celebrated Silicon Motion controller we've been waiting for 2 years with some special sauce, or is it something totally in-house? Be interesting. 7,000 megabytes per second on sequential reads, 5,300 megabytes per second on sequential writes.
Nice.
So that's right up there with what we saw from the Samsung 980 Pro, what you can probably expect from E18 drives when they are available.
Something like 1 million IOPS.
Yeah, just insane stuff.
Yeah, stupid amount.
And they had some more stuff to announce
Where was
too.
that?
They're doing like
Well, yeah, if you're an Intel
thin
user,
drives and that sort of thing.
there's a Gen 3 by 8 NVMe card coming out, the AN 1500. And I mean, if they're right with their advertising, your sequential reads are 65,000 megs,
Mhm.
or 6,500 megs rather, and
was
writes
gonna
is
say.
4,100. Yeah, it's actually a by 80 card, but no, so it's creeping up on the 4.0 card, so it's going to be nice for people. And of course, they're splitting these out, so by the end of October, you should be able to get your hands on the 4th gen card without a heatsink. If you want to wait for the fancy heatsink, that's actually going to be sometime early in the new year. and you can actually get the AN 1500, the PCIe 3.0 8x now at certain places. Like when I did a quick peek, go to the Western Digital Store, it was the only place I saw. But it's pricey. Like, I don't want to pay $300 for a terabyte, but
Yeah.
I understand why.
So freaking fast, man.
Yeah.
If you can see the
Newegg
highlighted.
had advertised that they were going to release that on the 12th, and I checked on the 12th, and they had not the pre-order or auto notify. It was considered out of stock. So I don't know if they had a limited amount that they released in the morning of the 12th and they got all scooped up, or if it was just a mistake on Newegg's part. But yeah, I guess everybody else is getting it in early November.
Yeah, and pricing, I haven't seen pricing on all of it, but that 500 gigabyte SN850 will be $149. So these are not inexpensive. They're going to be in that premium price territory like the
980
Samsung
Pro.
drive. Yeah. But hey, they have the speed to justify it. Hey, and speaking of Samsung, hold on. I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. Let's actually check the notes, shall we? Speaking of the company that Samsung uses as a springboard for all of their ideas, Apple has announced iPhone 12s, more than one, apparently.
I saw what you did there. Yeah, actually, Apple released 4 phones, which is more than they've ever released, I guess, in the past. But for those of you who didn't watch the Apple keynote or the Apple rollout, and there's a lot of you, and that's what
I didn't watch it, Brett. I'm going to be honest with you.
I believe you. Big highlights from that were that they finally got their act together and released 5G, which is nice, right? For the how many cities where they can actually use this in? 3, 4. But it's nice.
It's parts of select cities, I believe.
Well, it isn't that many.
Your carrier. Hey, before you get too far into this, if you're watching the video, we're looking at an image from Apple.com, and it's a picture of like the top half of an iPhone 12. And we're looking at the edge, which is now a flat edge like the iPhone 4 design.
Oh, you're stealing my thunder now.
But I have a question for you, Brett.
Shoot.
Look at the top corner above the antenna like insulator.
Band. The antenna band, yeah.
Is it a matte finish down by the buttons and then glossy, like a mirror finish up above that?
No,
what is going on here?
This is actually, since this is clearly a picture of the Pro, you're really throwing my feng shui off of here. Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore, which is
just roll with it. Just roll with it.
Which is normal. I'm going with it.
Balance.
Since this is a Pro, this is the picture of the Pro. This will be polished stainless steel, not aluminum.
But the side doesn't look polished.
It's polished. It's
the
just
side
happens,
where the buttons are is matte.
It's high end polished stainless steel. Are you really gonna?
I don't know.
Are you really gonna doubt Tim Apple?
Yes.
Johnny's gone, so I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah. Well, the word on the street is that's polished stainless steel. Okay, and very nicely gold anodized using a special Johnny Ive remembrance style process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he developed all this stuff long ago.
He did.
So there's pieces of Johnny Ive in there?
No, it's just his concept of like how to make things so chamfered that it hurts your eyes.
Yeah. There's a lot of chamfering.
There's a ton of chamfering on this. And the callback to just hit what you were saying a second ago, the callback to the iPhone 4 style, maybe 5, but it really is welcome. I actually appreciate that. They made them slightly smaller. Why not actually give the corner of the phone some grip? Especially when you consider one of the other things that they added was this. I'll skip around here. What was this MagSafe mechanism? Formerly their computers had it. The newer ones we kind of missed it on. It actually was a very reasonable thing that they came up with. Well, they've added it to the phone to beat, I guess, the real world problem of getting your Qi charger perfectly oriented on your device so that it transmits the most wattage it can. Well, now they've got magnets into things so that it automatically self-centers. Not a bad idea. I have to agree.
Hey,
good on
Brett. Before we continue, I found the perfect graphic.
Okay.
It is polished. It looks like it was just a shadow
just yes.
As I'm scrolling, you can see the ultra high
Mm-hmm.
shine of the stainless steel edge as I'm moving up and down with the
I'm
mouse
not
scroller here.
I'm slightly surprised that they managed to not increase the R value, the reflectivity value, beyond your monitor's capability simply through your web browser. I'm surprised they didn't manage that.
I feel like there is greater saturation when I'm on Apple.com, though.
I would agree.
But only on a Windows machine, which is odd.
Huh.
It's
Let's analyze
oddly
that.
muted on a Mac.
Let's analyze that at some other point. Now,
some
Josh-
other time. I don't
Josh
see
may-
where are the clippy things for the bottom. Where's the new fancy MagSafe?
it's on the back.
I mean, I'm on the
back.
site. I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and I'm not seeing anything.
You know,
about
there's a lot of
this.
scrolling on Apple.com. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. And the scrolling is always
People
filled
on
with lots of
beds,
things flying
there's
at
some- I
you,
don't-
and
I don't
flying
appreciate-
around, and
Let's
things
talk about
whipping
this.
around.
Let's talk about this quilt here for a
You're
second.
not going to let me get through this, are you?
I'm not. All right, continue. Go ahead.
Josh may actually be interested in the fact that this is a 5 nanometer process on the A14, which is a preview of Apple Silicon. 5 nanometer, I believe the first chip that's on that process. Almost 12 billion transistors. Not insignificant.
Not small.
Pretty high performant. I noticed they did not compare it to their previous A13 generation. They compared it to kind of like everybody else saying, yeah, we're the best. Does that mean they weren't all that much faster than their A13? Probably. But this is sort of a precursor as to what to expect in Apple Silicon. The numbers are looking, pretty good for them. It's a 6-core CPU, I guess 2 high-performant cores and 4 what they call lower performant background style cores. 4-core GPU. So that's reasonable. One of the other lenses on the Pro on the back, as you whipped through that, is a LiDAR. So they're using depth imaging. And I remember years ago working on depth imaging capture systems. And we actually had to use frequencies to image rooms and spaces such that you couldn't have anything alive in the room because it would cook them. Or at least you shouldn't be exposed to that frequency of radiation for long periods of time.
Oh, that'd go perfectly with Alan's ozone maker there.
Well, yeah, it would have been great. So we could image rooms and get depth readings off of dead spaces as long as people weren't in the way. It's come a long way. You now can hold it in your hand and get reasonable depth imaging and really fast lock-on for AR. Better than kind of waving the camera around like you have to do today in order to get the camera or the portable device positioned in space. This is going to be a lot faster lock-on for AR purposes. They added a new raw image capture format. I mean, the cameras are okay and all that. They've really kind of improved them on the high end. The raw image capture thing is kind of cool in that it remembers all of the effects and things, but you can still pull the raw out of it. So that's nice. 4K 60, this Dolby Vision thing, of which I'm not familiar with because I don't shoot movies, I guess. But that's supposed to be cool. They thought a lot about that, and you can shoot and edit the whole thing on the camera. And you used to be able to have to do this all offline with a high performance PC, so now you can hold it in your hand. In my opinion, it's not a huge leap. I mean, no one's going to be disappointed if they like an Apple device. This is new, so they're gonna dig it. But doesn't seem like a really huge thing. I mean, I like it. I'm not going to buy one probably. I just bought an SE. No, I just bought an SE a little while ago.
You bought an SE because you wanted a phone to tide you over until 12.
That's true. I guess.
SE is only an intermediary phone.
I would probably be interested in the Mini, which is a new thing for them. If you look at it, it's the 4th device that I don't think everybody saw coming. It's got as much screen real estate as their previous larger, like regular 11, but it's in a package that's significantly thinner and smaller. Unfortunately, the notch is still there, which is stupid. I think the notch is ridiculous. But you play.
The notch is necessary because they don't.
It's not necessary.
Look,
it's all about the notch.
Listen,
stupid.
You don't have to keep saying stupid. Listen, Brett, let's be objective here for a second. The reason the notch exists on certain phones, the notch or the pinhole cutout thing, is because the technology to have a camera within like the LCD
behind the glass
is not very good yet. It would be a huge regression in image quality if we did that.
That is
There's
true.
a number of problem. I mean, as somebody with an
legitimate
optical
reasons.
engineering background,
Yes,
you should know that there would be major like refraction and other kind of strange
there are.
light issues going on
There
when you have,
absolutely are.
sensors nestled next to, emissive display pixels and things. So
Hey,
anyway,
speaking of that, they actually protected the glass with like ceramic stuff now. So
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's
I,
kind
that's the only part I care about. They said that they've been working with Corning on making the glass more shatter resistant. That's great.
Yeah, I think they're the first people or the first corporation to use it, but I suspect that other companies will be able to use that formulation at some point in the future. One more thing about that, they actually demoed handheld gaming to
Don't
show
care.
how cool they're.
Nobody cares
No,
about
wait,
handheld gaming
Wait,
on an
no,
iPhone.
they don't. Nobody cares.
It's
They
not our
demoed-
target demo,
No,
Brett.
League of Legends. That was sort of funny as to why they would do that. But the reason they did it is because of their fight with Epic. They didn't show off.
Oh, because they couldn't show Fortnite. That's
They
right.
couldn't show Fortnite.
Hey, what's a game that a lot of people play together online?
Well, that
LOL.
was the funny thing. They went like, "Oh, what's the most popular handheld game or the most popular game ever?" And I'm like,
Let's look at the
Fortnite?
Apple
Is it
iOS.
And then they
pornography?
went,
store.
and then they went
rankings
League of
here.
Legends, and I went, so I thought it was funny.
Hey, I found the thing on the accessories, the new charging ring, the magnetic charging ring. So
Sexy.
it's nice. Like it looks like they have a prototype of the phone here, and you can see it's like this round thing, and there's a wireless charging coil in it, and then a magnet around the perimeter.
Yeah, that's Palm from 10 years ago. Or
And then
how
if you
long
set
ago?
the phone down on top of it, it like
Mhm.
sticks to it because it's magnetic.
They
It's very clever that Apple has invented this technology that we've
they
never
did
seen.
not invent it. It was invented
Magnets.
by Palm.
How do they work?
The iPhone just becomes more and more the palm every iteration. I've noticed ever since they went with the swipe up gesture, it's become more and more clear.
I
that they're
think
very
you're just
different.
talking to hear yourself speak now.
Yep.
I would accuse you of the same thing, Brett. I'm bringing the truth, and I'm not apologetic about preferences.
Yep. Moving on.
Yeah, what's next? What else was on the list of things to talk about?
Shh. 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 Be quiet.
Oh, yes. Oh, let's get into the reviews portion. We're just going to do quick overviews here. You have to go to pcpro.com to read the full review. I'm not going to try to do a podcast review of 3 different things this week because somebody's been busy and getting reviews out there, and it would take a while to go through all of these. But real quick, be quiet. Entered the liquid cooler market in the US with the Pure Loop series. And these are sort of budget-oriented, all-in-one liquid coolers. And I stress all-in-one. They are not closed-loop coolers. There is a distinction there. And that is because these are not sealed. You can actually top these off and maintain them yourself. But they come pre-filled. They're ready to go. They range from $84.90 US dollars for the 120 millimeter up to $119.90 for the 360. So that's very reasonable. I got the 280 because we had some other 280s reviewed recently I wanted to compare to. And first of all, get a load of the tasteful style of the cooler. This is the top of the CPU block. It's a brushed aluminum with the Be Quiet logo and then a subtle ring of white LED lights. No RGBs here, just a light dusting of white RGBs for you. And then look at that. It's a copper cold plate, but it is nickel coated, and it's very nicely milled.
Did you just say nipple coated?
Yes.
think you did.
That's
Yep.
what I heard.
Nipple coated.
It is nipple coated, 100%.
The soft white glow on the outline.
Mm-hmm. Standard radiator, but something that isn't standard. First of all, I call these the key differentiation points. This is number 1, the fill port on the end of the radiator here. And then the other is this.
What is that?
That is the pump. The pump, if you're listening, is suspended. It's in line in the hoses. So you have the radiator and then the hoses begin, and about 2 inches down, you have this big thing that encompasses both hoses and then the hoses.
Okay.
And it is the pump. So because
Why?
because Asetek, because patents and having
Patents.
to be different to sell without, using an Asetek design. So to be different, they did this. And what's actually kind of cool about it is they made something of it. They made something of having to be different by mounting the pump up here on the hoses should reduce any kind of audible vibration from the pump because it's just suspended on like these, rubber hoses with this cloth weave coating over it. It's the same principle of like, turntable motors where if they're suspended by rubber, then they don't vibrate against the plinth, that sort of thing. And then you're dealing with essentially your standard Be Quiet air cooler mounting kit. This is literally the same hardware essentially that you'll get if you get one of the Dark Rock coolers, and little subtle things like the fact there's a little rubber ring you put down on the retention bolts to hold them in place while you're building the system. I like it. And then I'm adding this in. I added in a picture of thermal paste application just to raise people's ire and to have them judge me for the rather sloppy application of thermal paste.
A little bumpy.
It is bumpy. I used a piece of cardstock that I cut from like my son got a toy car, and I just cut the cardstock backing.
How come you don't use like business cards?
I was, and then I'm like, I'm just throwing away all these business cards. I should start recycling. So I go into like the recycle in the kitchen and just grab.
That's how you end up with textured thermal paste.
Yeah, it's organically textured. I don't know if that helps the performance or not.
No.
Speaking of performance, real quick, and I said I was going to be quick, and I probably already talked about this for 4 minutes, but temperatures never exceeded 77 C during testing with a 10900K with all the power limits disabled. And to give you a picture of what that actually looks like, here's the same chart with the power, and we were drawing over 210 watts on this test, even approaching 220 at times, like 215, 218, I think it peaked. So that's a huge load during Blender here, and temperatures they stayed in the mid 70s. They peaked at 77 while the fans were ramping up. And that, compared to the other coolers I reviewed recently, is within about a half degree of the best performing one. And the GamerStorm Castle 280EX, another 280 millimeter, got about 55 above ambient, and the Pure Loop 280 got 55.6. So second to the best there, and second to the best in noise. And I will say that GamerStorm, almost 50 decibels. This 45-ish, 44.8. Still,
that's pretty significant.
Yeah, but that's still significantly louder than the Corsair, the H115i, in its balanced mode. But here's the thing: balanced mode is simply limiting the top speed of the fan. So if you do your own fan profile tweaking in your motherboard, you can do the same thing with this. But ultimately, the conclusion I drew was for 104.90 for a 280 with this kind of performance, it's impressive. I think it's a very impressive first effort for Be Quiet, especially because they're talking about this as kind of like your basic entry level, and it competes up there with more expensive stuff. I think that GamerStorm was in the $150 range. So a lot of 280s are, but you're not paying for RGBs or anything with this. You're just getting kind of your basic no frills experience. Oh, and speaking of no frills, and
it's meant to work quietly in the dark.
Mm-hmm. There's a little ring, though. You can still see your way. It's not super bright. You can find your way in your case, kind of. Moving on, one more review that went up this week was just, just some getting back to basics here. What's more basic than a standard size SD card? And I'm not going to go into this one in depth, but we have a review of standard size SD cards. Samsung is back in that game. They've just been doing micro SDs for a while. Now they have standard SD cards again, and they are pretty high performance. There's the new SD Card Pro Plus. This is class 10, speed grade 3. It's U3. Up to 100 megabytes per second sequential reads, up to 90 megabytes per second sequential writes. That's if you get the 64 gigabyte or higher. We got the 128 to test. And I compared it against the Evo Plus. That is new, has slower write speeds, the same read speeds, up to 60 megabytes per second for the 128, up to 80 for the 256. And these are inexpensive. Pricing on these, they top out at $49 for the 256. The 128 I tested for the Pro was $25.99, and the Evo was $19.99. for 128 gigabytes of up to 100 megabyte per second. And just to sort of verify that, here's a quick look at Crystal Dismark, 97.11 megabytes per second, both of them. The Evo is on the right, the Pro is on the left. The difference is the write speed, 66.69 with the Evo, 83.45 with the Pro. And then I did some comparison testing with one of my own cards, a SanDisk Extreme 128, and that had slightly lower reads, only 95.84 megabytes, but writes were slightly better. The Extremes are very, very good, even exceeding their own spec on transfer speeds. But I'm a little concerned because the new SanDisk Extreme, the only one I can find, it claims 150 megabytes per second. But then if you read the fine print, that's with only 70 on write. So it looks like whatever new flash they're using does not write quite as fast. Probably a little bit more dense. But the pricing on these is very good, I think. Like the performance of the Evo was about 20% lower on writes, but the price is 23% lower. So it looks like they kind of nailed pricing on these. And think about like a fast 128 gig card for about $26 and an almost as fast one for $20. And I think I paid 40 or 45 for my 128 Extreme on sale about a year ago. Prices on these have come down a lot for fast SD storage. But if you want to see a little bit more in the way of benchmark numbers and so forth with these, check out the review. And finally, real quick, Corsair released a wireless mouse. It is an inexpensive wireless mouse. It actually has the distinction of being the lowest cost slipstream wireless mouse in their lineup. That previously was the Harpoon at $59. This is only $39. So their slipstream, if you're not familiar, they call it hyperfast sub 1 millisecond wireless technology. You can also connect this with Bluetooth, but it's just kind of your basic symmetrical design. It's not an ambidextrous mouse necessarily because there's only thumb buttons on the left side of the mouse, but it is a symmetrical design. Small, good battery life, no fancy RGB bling. There's one RGB zone, which literally just shows you what the DPI setting is. And it runs off of a single AA battery. And it's compact. And it's only $40. So, hey, if you're in the market for a small mouse and you have a claw or finger style grip, I have a finger style grip myself. In fact, the mouse I've been using is this Dark Core RGB Pro SE. And I still use a finger style grip with it, but it's a larger mouse. It has a larger base. So I was happily using this one with my fingertips. That's how I do things. But anyway, if you're in the market for a mouse, check it out. And I think we have breezed through just about everything this week.
That's because I didn't interrupt you. You did really well.
Yeah, if it's just me talking for 10 straight minutes.
Yeah, and you didn't even take a breath, so that was awesome.
Thank you. Picks of the week. I think, Josh, you have the first pick? What is this?
I mean, SSD prices, again, they're starting to go down. And right now we have the fantastic sale and Amazon Prime Days just finished. And, it's kind of interesting. They things like the Sabrent 1 terabyte PCIe 4.0, it was down to 169, 175. And then they're like on sale now for $199, usually $249. But take another 20% off by adding this code. And it's like, guys, you're not doing anything. But something you actually did do something with is the older WDSN 750. Really super fast PCIe 3.0 for 117 for 1 terabyte. And that's getting down into that, P1, P2 range. That the Intel, and Micron slower drives. So yeah, that's a fantastic price for a really fast 3.0 NVMe 1 terabyte unit.
Hey,
did we all die?
No, I just wanted to let you know that we weren't dead.
No, I was just thinking about buying it and seeing what it was like.
I know. I was thinking about it too. I'm like,
I was muted, but we didn't miss anything. I just said the 2 terabyte.
I buy Intel QLC drive.
$336 right now on Newegg.
Yeah, but when you're talking about that much money and you look at the Intel Cheap ones, the 2 terabytes are a little over 200. It's like, yeah, they're slower, but $130 is $130.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true.
But I guess it depends on your workload. If you're using that as kind of a scratch or video editing, then it's going to be worth every penny to you. But I don't do those things. I play games.
Josh, I would
yell at
love
the
you.
kids.
I would love you if you started video editing, and I will start forwarding everything over to you to edit.
Oh, if only I
$160
had the time
here.
to even, yeah.
It's fun. Just, take care of your kid and put out fires while editing video over the course of an entire day.
I know.
You
You know what's amazing is that last year, just to kind of tell you, the entire IT group had an X amount of hours of overtime all last year. And last year I had half of those. And there's like 7 IT people now. So I'm salaried. Kind of stinks, but come bonus time, they make things a little bit better.
They better.
Good.
Jeremy has the next pick. It is is this just a Wi-Fi extender, or is this a mesh router?
No, it's just a pretty dead simple extender for anyone that's dealing with some bad signals, like my brother in his place. And generally, they try and charge you more than these things are worth. And it can get quite frustrating. But Asus does a pretty good job in general. And the RP AC55 has been out for a while. It's, you're stuck with 802.11 and an AC. But right now, and this is Canadian, it's $50. You'll usually see this selling for closer to 80 or so. So, for this sort of thing, you just want maybe 2 meters away, 3 meters away from your wireless router. This really does a good job at extending things. So if you're sort of shopping around and trying to figure out the hell's going to go on here, you can do it. And it's one of the ones that does have an RJ45 in it. So you can either use that to extend it significantly further, or in some cases where you're running into latency issues, you can plug in and relatively mitigate them. Unless you're Ryan, in which case, well, you're just going to have latency issues forever, apparently.
That's what he gets. I mean, look, you can't have everything. And at some point, the karma is going to take away your latency on your gigabit connection. Which to say that I don't want that to happen, because I also have a symmetrical gigabit connection, but sorry. I found my pick of the week, but we'll get to that in a minute. Brett.
Yeah, this is a handy device I've been carrying with me for a long time, and I thought I would mention it to say that the best tool is the one you have with you, and that's a one of these Leatherman devices, and I think I sent you some pictures right there as well. That I think the best tool, or the best part about this particular tool, is actually the clip that keeps it in your pocket, so it doesn't go wandering around and it doesn't fall out.
It's got a carabiner on it.
It does. It's actually a bottle opener as well. It doubles as a bottle opener, so it's got a fair number of tools on it. But this has come in handy far more than you would think, from computing stuff to car stuff to random occurrences while hanging out at the restaurants, where it was like, hey, I need to, it doesn't, this table is wobbly. Well, let me just tighten the leg. It's just the craziest amount of occurrences that it's like it's really useful to have a sort of universal tool with you whenever the need arises. So I recommend this one.
I've got a Wave with me almost all the time.
Yeah.
If the belt's on, the Wave's in there attached to it.
This is the Skeletool, and you can actually order it with custom images imprinted on the blade now, which is kind of cool. Yeah, and that second one that I sent you is sort of an example of it, and you can get far more than just kind of like, this is kind of the old school version of the original chromed. But yeah, you can get a full-on customized with carbon fiber and an image imprinted on the blade and things inscribed upon it. Make it your own. It's useful. I recommend it. Get one.
And I
Very
can
good.
pay in 4 installments using Klarna.
Whatever that is.
I'm sure it's something that millennials are all about right now. It's some sort of trendy payment.
Or
service.
it's Swiss, and you're not putting enough phlegm into it.
No, I don't know because I'm on the .com.
Now I
site.
want to sing the Skeletor song, except with Skeletor. Don't look that song up. It's terrible. I
Oh,
won't.
they deserve it.
Skeletor.
We're gonna look it up. They deserve
You
to
made
learn
me
about
do
that.
go. Oh, I'm a polite that show.
So, what is your pick, Sebastian? I
My
can't.
pick, as you can see, I use these LED light strips, which I just disconnected partially. I'll take care of that later. And you can never have enough RGB strips. I mean, you can see Brett is using these,
Lame.
lights on a piece of PVC, but it's sad. You can't have enough strip lighting. I don't have enough strip lighting in my house and all around me. So I actually just got a text a few minutes ago from my sister. I don't know why she's wasting your time sending me suggestions, but she found this. It's Faux Polo brand on Amazon. You can get 65.6 feet of LED light strips. It's superior quality.
Oh,
Superior quality RGB lighting with a giant remote.
Yeah.
How can you go wrong? I mean, the pricing on this is
Is that a
probably
remote
good.
or is that Dr. Mario?
I don't know what's happening in this image. $35.99 to buy now. I can't wait.
It's going to be on fire in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was your
that was
Amazon password again? I just would want to take advantage of some Prime discounts.
I honestly don't know my Amazon password. So I use LastPass. You don't have to remember anything. Not a sponsor, by the way.
I use 1Password, also not a sponsor.
Yeah. 1Password is kind of hard to deal with.
I just use
Little
one
hard.
password. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh,
Oh, I
do.
see what you're saying.
yeah.
I
I
see
know
what you did
exactly
there.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't, but anyway.
Well, hey, we made it. We made it through. Any final parting words of wisdom from anybody before we wrap this up?
Absolutely. I had made a notation in the email message that it was bring your vegetable to the podcast day. So I just want to share my zucchini.
Yeah, there's another
No,
edit
I
point.
do not want any zucchini.
When they're really
Not
big
put
like
any
that,
on
they
my
don't taste
doorstep.
good. You gotta pick them early so they don't get so huge.
You
This one-
can't because
this
they
one got
grow so
missed.
many of them.
This one got missed. I just want to put kind of like my arm next to it and all that, just so you sort of get a sense of the.
Yeah, audio listeners love
I know where this is going.
Yeah, exactly.
portion of the show. He's showing some oversized vegetable that is probably all hollow and
Slightly
rotten on
curved.
the inside.
It's gonna be fabulous. You only just kind of.
There Brett was doing setups.
Okay, that's obscene. Thank you for watching this, listening to
Hey, one
this.
other thing.
Yes, Josh.
You know what? I expected another batch of RTX 3080s to at least hit this week, but so far,
Guess what? Not a zip.
No,
no.
Thank
It's
you.
been concerning how little product has been shipped so far that we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
But,
rumors about 2021 availability are becoming more and more believable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Jensen said like there would be supply constraint until 2021, right? I don't think he said we wouldn't have anything.
Well,
until 2020.
like he's going to say that.
But I guess just to
supply
publicly come out and say that at all means it's not good. So
I guess we find out in November when we finally see AMD Big Navi.
yeah,
Who's got what? Because right now, yeah, getting a 3080 is, unless you go on eBay, pay those nice inflated prices.
it's literally like the first iPhone launch. That's how insane this has been. It's because that was scalped endlessly. You couldn't find them in stock because when they would show up at the Apple store, there was already people waiting in line to buy it, and they would be on eBay later that morning.
Oh, the original Xbox 360.
Yeah, that's true. The
Same
Nintendo Wii. I mean, everything, anything that and everything. The PlayStation 3.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Oh, yeah.
That's an oldie.
Yeah.
Yes, going back to the early '80s there. Anyway, thank you for taking part in episode 601 with us. This supporting our art, the art that we present here, abstract though it may be, and we
You
will.
are the Robert Mapplethorpe of podcasts.
Thank you.
Today.
I don't know who that is,
I have
but
no idea what you're talking about. It sounds great.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Perfect.
And we'll see you next week.
Oh, bloody heathens.
Hey, at least this week I only showed my email address instead of anything more.
Yeah.
You know, it was Brett that exposed himself.
Yeah,
That's just my lovely zucchini. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop stroking it.
It's just almost so impossible to put down.
You'll make it angry and it will get bigger.
Commando Kodiak asks, does anyone know the bandwidth of 1440p 480 hertz? And whether the current DisplayPort 1.4 standard would handle it without chroma subsampling? I think I don't know.
That's pushing it.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Wouldn't you have to be on 2.0? Or not 2.0. I'm thinking of HDMI.
Yes.
DisplayPort 1.4. Should, because it supports 8K. But I don't know if it'll do chroma subs. I don't know. 480 hertz is out there. We don't need 480 hertz. The human eye can't see past 24.
More than 24 frames per second.
Yeah, 24 frames a second.
We have 311 current viewers.
Oh, that's pretty good.
311, which is a band and also a illicit substances reference and other things. All right, let's see.
Thanks.
Wow, I'm way behind with this. The chat here is way behind on my view.
Way behind.
People are saying that's one big dildo, and yeah.
Where are you
Apparently
seeing
that
that?
I look, when I opened up YouTube Studio to
Oh.
start the stream, it
Oh.
starts to lag a few minutes in, and I can't do anything with the page.
Mm.
All right.
I like Soren's shut up versus be quiet.
That's
Yes.
pretty good. You
That
should
was-
show that one.
I'd like to
That's
see
good.
Stifle in there too, though.
Let me see here.
Edith Stifle.
Bring up the Discord. I always feel uneasy about going to Discord live, but hey, we're just in the after show, so anything goes.
Yeah, they were pretty calm this year. This night, evening.
Yeah, it was. They spent themselves last week.
What's going on with the Discord?
You gotta scroll back.
Our
a bit.
podcast. Yes, it was short. It was only an hour. I'm giving myself a break after going through 3.5 hours of video.
Yeah.
And he deserves
Last week.
it. Deserves a break.
It is like stripper lighting. Let's see. Superior quality.
Oh, you gotta go back a ways.
Where? Oh,
Josh
wait.
Josh didn't know the zucchini was coming and needs time to calm down before bed.
This is great. I'll have to forward this over to our Be Quiet contacts and say, hey, I think this would make a really good alternate branding for you guys.
Yep.
Shut up.
Versus.
Quiet. It's like the in your face. It's like Nintendo versus Sega. Like, we've got attitude. Target the younger demo there.
You know, I didn't notice any Prime deals. I just
Like none.
stayed kind of away from. I mean, I quickly looked at a couple of things, but you know, they raised the base MSRP prices, and you know, on a couple of things that I was interested in, and then you know, they said, well, discounted 33%, and it was back to the same price it was last week. So I was a little disappointed in that.
I got Cat 8 and some Cat 7 cables. Pretty exciting.
Cat 8?
Yeah.
Sure
Not
you
a
did.
thing yet.
Gonna
See,
break
and
the world.
Jeremy's
Cat 9.
skeptical. Jeremy's skeptical of my Cat 7 cable I bought on Amazon from a no-name
no.
company.
It's because it's flat. It looks weird.
I have the flat cable too. I have the flat cable running all the way from my living room all the way to where I'm sitting right now.
It's just more twists on
weird.
twisted pairs that don't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, that's never mind.
Eh.
Put on that road.
The monster cable of
Jeremy, it's in the cross-section photos on Amazon. It looks so compelling. Look at all these extra twisty pairs and the insulation layer of aluminum foil like substance that I can't verify because I haven't actually cut this thing open yet.
You probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't cut it open.
Yeah, it's not really field repairable.
Mhm.
No, and it's from the feel of it and how flexible it is. I can't imagine there's really anything in there. It's just a plastic jacket over some wires.
Yeah, there were some people who were talking about some stuff they were ordering from Monoprice that turned out to be like not Cat 6A. 6A was supposed to be augmented with additional shielding, and they were cutting it open, going like, "This is not 6A," and that's what scared me off from buying any 6A. So then I started finding Cat 7 because I needed 75 feet, and then I needed some 10 footers, and I'm like, "Well, Cat 8 is the same price. I'll just get that." And then there were 10% off coupons on Amazon. I guess that really wasn't Prime Day, but whatever. I'm trying to go 10 gigabit on a few links.
Cat 8, well, I mean, you're not going to get any more bandwidth than you already have.
No,
I don't think that anything can currently exceed even Cat 7.
No, you can't push it that far, but it's like super duper shielded, super turbo shield.
Any suggestion on a GPU to pair with a Core i5 from Intel's second generation, like Sandy Bridge era? What we get questions like this, and it's like, what? How high up can you go?
Go dig up an HD 78 to 6870.
Yeah,
there. I don't know.
You can probably get one for like $75.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll do you fairly good.
Anything's going to be fine. I mean, an RX 580 is going to do great.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, if you can somehow manage to game at 1440 like medium with a 580, I don't think they would be CPU constrained.
That old Sandy Bridge, that's what they're around 3 gigahertz, so not going to push even 1080 all that much anymore.
1660 Super, says Al Bundy. That's not a bad choice.
No.
Although I think I don't know. It's complicated. I guess we could revisit that.
Got a good deal on it.
Just don't want to. I don't want to set up a Sandy Bridge system. I didn't even take any of that stuff when we took over the site. Like when I went down to the office and went through all the bins and the shelves. Like I don't want anything older than Skylake because I don't want to have to retest all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Brett, thank you for wearing your headphone with the cable hanging out the correct side, says Dave. I don't.
Yeah, this is the correct side, but I guess it's reversed, probably, right?
I mean, it's on the inside. It probably looks weird to have things hanging like dangling over here on the outside of the video.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maybe that's it. Like it probably looks bad for me to be facing away because then you guys are all over here.
Yeah, do the entire broadcast and profile next time.
I think it just happens to be where we landed, I suppose, on the Skype call as to what's outside versus inside. So
yeah, I should put a monitor over here because otherwise I'm just staring at nothing.
I understand there's a pipe over there.
I hid the pipe. Here, I had this. Here, look. We're in the after show.
Okay.
Come with me. We're going to turn the camera here.
All right.
Over here, there is no pipe visible because I brought my projector screen down here and set it up sideways, thinking I'll have this awesome projected images. I have the projector over there pointed at it, and then I tried it and it looked like garbage on camera. So I'm like, oh, that was a fail. But hidden behind this in shame is a copper pipe. It's obscene. I will not show it on stream.
I want you to video you fixing it, you moving it.
I will. Yeah, I'll do a video. I'll bring back Ryan's weblog. It'll be Sebi's weblog on the website, and I'll have you help me create that new page on the site.
Absolutely do that.
And then I'll just document my journey to get out from this horrible situation.
I was thinking about talking about some science projects we could do, or like, scratch build type stuff, like building a monitor.
Building a monitor?
Sure. Out of
building a CRT monitor from scratch.
No, that's not. Well, actually, that may be interesting. A CRT monitor. You want to talk about refresh rates.
People want to know what Jeremy's cat's names are. Oh, he just responded. Eris and Artemis.
Yes. Eris is the plum smuggler.
I guess it's better than Romulus and Remus. That would be overused, especially since they're not dogs.
They're more canine.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they're two kids.
The original raised by wolves.
Yeah.
Ha.
All right. Anything else before we wrap this up?
I don't know. Did we miss any questions?
I want fries now.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Go
French
make some
fries.
fries in your air cooker.
I am.
Air
I need
fryer.
an air cooker. My sister has one, and it's surprisingly great.
Yeah, I'm not
Nice.
disappointed with it at all. The fact that I won it in a Christmas party and it didn't cost me anything helps too.
That's even better. Sprinkle some
Earlier,
oil on
Dave-
there.
Dave wanted to know if Brett keeps a tub of Crisco with his giant cucumber.
Where are you seeing this? Because I'm just not seeing it. Oh, it's bigger than a baby's arm. That guy's classic.
Yes, it is.
That is classic. Bravo,
Josh.
sir.
Josh, you are
Steve,
using
sir.
NVIDIA Broadcast still, aren't you?
I am.
Yep.
Pretty
Whatever.
good for being free.
Hey, Dave, Retro Hardware, that would be a delightful diversion as we wait for Big Navi. So let's plan on that within the next week or two, doing some kind of Retro Hardware thing. I'll get some other people involved. We'll do it podcast style, show and tell, Retro Hardware. We'll do a live stream. I'll be building a 486 computer in the background. Brett will be showing stuff. Josh will be showing stuff.
Sure.
Jeremy, if you want to be involved in this.
What am I doing again?
absolutely. I don't know.
What?
We can do some
I
kind of
am
Retro Hardware
legacy
stream.
hardware.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
Retro Hardware stream, man.
You
People
know
want
what?
it.
We should definitely review that Western Digital SSD. The last video did really well.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, in a
It
sea of videos with single-digit thousands of views,
I know. The
that one's
Western
like
Digital one really,
52,000 views last time I looked.
yeah, really stands out. People want to know about it. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if people wanted a deep dive on the new one. Wouldn't be surprised.
I reached out to Western Digital. I'm like, hey, we covered that other video or the other SSD, and we'd like to cover the new one. And that was a few days ago, and they haven't responded to me. So
Maybe they will.
Hey, I just joined the show, Sebastian. Why aren't you doing the show Computer Hardware on Twit anymore? Because they canceled it. Next question.
The Big Zucchini is bigger than the Big Navi. That is correct. I could bring the Big Zucchini back on the screen
I think people are talking. I mean, there's a lot of buzz in the chat about
if there's enough demand.
No, there's apparently not big enough demand because it was just an empty promise. You're a tease. You're a freaking tease, dude.
There's just
Talk about your giant cucumber and then you don't bring it back.
it's too easy. It's just way too easy.
Show us the veggie. Show us the veggie. Something bad happened on my screen. What happened here?
Just-
Oh, so unnatural.
it's just it's bigger than your head.
All right. Well, I think
You're gonna have to cut super zucchini fries. Oh my god! Look, it was hiding. It was in the garden.
Yeah,
Didn't see
hiding
it.
behind
It
what?
was hiding.
how
I was
many
playing
graphics
hide and
cards could
seek
you
with the
fit inside of
zucchini.
that?
Yeah.
Can you split open the zucchini and then place like a graphics card in it for scale?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
it's like good.
I'll wait.
I
R9
can't do it
Nano,
right
please.
now. I'm really
Alright.
busy.
Okay, you're busy. Where's the
Oh.
plant, Josh? Where's your plant?
Josh, people want to know where the tomatoes are.
Yeah,
It's-
did you get
it's-
your
it's
second harvest
sleeping.
off it?
It kind of slowed down.
Okay.
It's not getting nearly as much sun. Just it's been so cold and windy out lately, and yeah, no, I need to got a couple more growing, but it's been not as productive as I had hoped this tomato plant would be.
Someone purporting to be Ken Addison in the chat says, please come and take these old CPUs. And I say, never!
No,
You could keep them.
Apparently, we could
Ah.
just hide them in Brett's zucchini patch, and he'll never find them.
You would not believe the size of these leaves. Okay, they're like this.
yeah,
big
they're
around.
massive.
All right, that's what happened. This
All
is
right.
my story.
I'm stopping the recording now. We're
Yeah,
still
all right.
streaming.
You have to stop it.
Recording is stopped.
Thanks all.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Oh my god.
I only have an hour and 14 minutes of video to go through.
That's pretty good.
Very
That's
easy.
way better.
Did you take the stream down
No, not yet. You want me to?
soon?
Okay, let's take the stream down, guys. Thank you for hanging out. And I'm about to stop the stream. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
I went to